my wife and I were coming down to live in Long Beach because I'd taken a job there. And we had read in the LA Times about this theater that was doing Harold Pinter and some other stuff that no one in LA had done Harold Pinter. And so I had a meeting, a faculty meeting at the college where I was teaching, and I said to my department head, "Do you know anything about this company, South Coast Repertory?" And I was talking to David Emmes, who was one of the two founders of the company. I didn't know that. And so within a week, we were down and becoming members of the company. Well, I think as an artist, you're treated very well here, first of all. Our salaries have always been competitive with the top of the line in regional theater. We do everything we can to make people comfortable, and we have to, if for no other reason. For hiring LA actors, they've got to make the drive down, and that's not always something they're fond of. Although that's kind of been, it's easier in the pandemic now, but it's still difficult. So, but the main reason I think people were coming down here is for opportunities to play big parts in revivals. If you were an actor who always wanted to play this part and had achieved some degree of celebrity, it was a chance for you to come down and check that box. But mostly it's been about new plays. And the idea of actors love doing new plays because they get to generate a role. They get to originate it. And it's a big thing to be the first person to do a role. And we did so much new work down here that, people would come down, assuming they were attracted by the role, to sort of plant their flag in this part, because most of the plays got done other places. And so sometimes if it went to New York, as say 3 Days of Rain did, our whole cast went to New York. And so there was that aspect of it, but also there is just this thing among actors in any city of wanting to originate a role. It's something they've aspired to. Well, we do need the help and support. David Martin and I have talked, and David Ivers now, about the fact of people in the community who were just key, pardon me, in the development of the theater. We couldn't have done it on it. If it had just been us, we'd still be back in the dime store on Newport Boulevard. But it was the community's wish for a theater that, was a full equity theater that put on, high standard work that they didn't have to drive to Los Angeles to see. And so that was a great deal of the help that we got. We also helped in the sense of people in our neighborhood with businesses, be it hotels or restaurants or anything else, had their businesses enhanced by proximity to our theater, because people would come out and have dinner there or whatever and come to the theater. So it's been a symbiosis of a kind that we do contribute to the community beyond the art. Economically, we do. The various studies have been shown that for every dollar that is spent, on a theater ticket, something like $4 or $5 gets spent in the surrounding businesses, in parking and restaurants, shopping, whatever. And so we take some pride in that, of being, a generator of business in the community. But then also, there's a thing about live performance. And as somebody who started out writing television, this is the golden age of television. Man, there's so much good stuff on TV being done well. It's well written. Most of the playwrights that we're after all have media jobs. And so you have to ask yourself, as I did, because again, the last 12 years I was in New York, and 3 to 5 nights a week, I would be out seeing plays, most of which really didn't have to be seen, but you don't know that until you go. And it's not like you can walk out because they know who you are. And so you can't just say, I've had enough of this and leave. You have to stay. And that kind of experience makes you think, geez, I could sit home in my shorts with a bottle of wine and watch, whatever, Billions or Succession or whatever the show is. Boardwalk Empire was a big favorite of mine because Howard Corder, one of the playwrights that we produce so often here, was writing that show, putting it together. So what makes us something that people ought to keep coming to? It's the live event. It's the thing that's different every night. It's the community that is created by an audience. The interesting thing to me throughout all my time in theater is that how smart an audience is, how that any audience is so much smarter than the smartest person in the room, that they inform one another. And you don't get that on TV. It's just you and what's coming out of the screen. But when you sit with other people, it's besides being obviously communal, it's just much more educational because you're sharing responses. Sometimes you don't understand the responses and you have to figure them out later because it wouldn't have hit you that way unless you'd been there. So I think that's very valuable, and we try to program in ways that deal with subjects and human experience that is, essential and in the forefront of our time. So I hope we continue to do that, and if we do a revival, it's because it's a good time to do that revival. Well, I've been very lucky to be involved with both, just from a personal standpoint. Again, for not that anybody would know this, but I was here for a long time, from 1967 till 2004, and then I worked at the Old Globe in San Diego, which was a great experience as artistic director there, and then 12 years with Manhattan Theater Club in New York City, and during the late 80s and into the late 90s, I was at Sundance. So I've had all of these incredible opportunities, particularly with the development of new plays. And now I find it was very nice when David Ivers said, will you come back? And I was delighted to return because this place is, it's like the baseball players, I'll always be a Dodger. Well, I'll always be somebody from South Coast Repertory.